want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people. And maybe say it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe say we don't want you around if you're going to be a
Yeah.
and hateful. And that the games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid motherfucker. And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically.
In recent years, both the movies and gaming industry have seen a significant shift toward prioritizing diversity and inclusion. More and more, there seems to be a clear distinction between journalists and gaming community on priority of a game. Journalists nowadays tend to focus on politics, intersecting with real-world issues like representation, diversity, and social justice, instead of doing their job by focusing on reviewing a game without injecting any biases or personal belief. Meanwhile, gamers play video games to escape that reality. Video games, like movies, have now become a significant part of the popular culture, in a way also influencing it. We can see it with the rise of video game adaptation like The Witcher, The Last of Us, and the recent flop, Borderlands.
Time to make it rain with your body parts.
As games tackle more complex themes, journalists explore those topics. Some readers are interested in how games intersect with real-world issues like representation, and naturally, journalists respond to this demand by covering those aspects to try to shed some light on it. But we have come into a phase that movie enthusiasts are also experiencing right now, and that is a war between journalists and consumer, a fight on which direction the entertainment industry should go, and about how diversity and inclusion seem to take precedence over everything else. We have seen this with Disney and pretty much every Marvel movies released after Endgame, as well as with Star Wars. These franchises and other movies coming out recently feel the need to feature strong female protagonists that are pretty much never wrong about anything, and some other movies make unnecessary changes to original work or historical accuracy through race swapping. This trend isn't limited to just a few movies though. It is becoming a widespread practice in the industry. While diversity and inclusion are important, the way they are being implemented often feel forced and inauthentic. Often, when those movies flop, what do the filmmaker and journalists do? They blame men, the core audience that goes to watch it. When faced with accusation of misogyny, sexism, racism, and other harsh terms, simply for not being interested in the concept, men started fighting back. Channels like The Critical Drinker, Neurotic, and others began to rise, countering those claims by arguing that the movies failed due to poor writing and that they were not made for them.
How much of that is down to woking up the movies?
I mean, I think it's definitely a factor, but it's part of a much bigger picture that incorporates other issues like a general decline in storytelling quality, a prioritization of quantity over quality, and like delving too much into identity politics, which by their nature are divisive. Of course they are.
What makes it worse is that journalists seem to take sides, attacking those content creators instead of reporting objectively. This biased approach hurt the credibility of journalism, which should be about presenting facts without prejudice. This scenario is now unfolding in the gaming industry. More channels have gained popularity by opposing the so-called woke ideology in gaming. Notably, Rather Dark, Andy Pants Gaming, and others have seen significant growth in fanbase as they reflect the discontent of the players when they notice that game developers are increasingly focusing on creating content that align with specific ideologies, often at the expense of storytelling and gameplay. This has led to a growing divide between game journalists and the gaming community, with many players feeling unheard, misrepresented, and attacked. The rise of these content creators is fueled by game publishers who keep on trying to push the message and keep creating games for so-called modern audiences, which is a myth at this point. Meanwhile, game journalists often defend these games, labeling players as racist, sexist, or bigoted for not accepting them. Some outlets even go as far as attacking games like Black Myth Wukong for not going along with their ideology. rating the game low because it lacked diversity. Which is, mind you, a game about a monkey fighting mystical creatures inspired by a novel that was published during the Ming Dynasty a few hundred years ago. Not to say that games that specifically cater to those modern audience shouldn't exist. Take Life is Strange for example. It is the most gay and woke AA game out there, but no one tried to cancel it because it is clear that it was made for that particular audience. The problem arises when there seems to be a push in the gaming industry to turn everyone into one audience, without considering our differences in ethnic, culture, and political view. They have shifted their focus more toward advertising to younger audiences like Western Gen Z, but there seems to be a misperception from the internet that all Gen Z are all gay, sissy liberal that can't handle fact and logic. And in turn, game companies have to deal with the fact that they have marketing the game for a non-gamer. Game developers keep trying to pander to these modern audiences without realizing that many of them don't actually even play games, or probably never touch a game in their lives. They're too busy arguing on Reddit and TikTok. Seeing all this, game journalists, instead of publishing articles that report on this issue, often attack gamers instead, causing even more further outrage toward the games they are trying so hard to defend. But I think changes are coming, whether these journalists like it or not. Games that are considered political and pushing certain agendas are failing one by one. Thus one, a government-funded game about using words as weapon, peaked at under 100 players. Concord, a AAA game filled with diversity and feel the need to put pronouns on every character, barely had any players on PC and peaked at just 697 players count. While editing this, there was a news that Concord is shutting down after barely 2 weeks of release. Once is an accident, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern. I hope those guys know that. Players have started to vote with their wallets, sending a clear message to developers and journalists that we do not want political content in gaming or in any entertainment. This is why Black Myth Wukong has become so popular. Game science didn't try to pander to a specific group to get DEI fund, nor did they alter the story to fit Western political views. As Gen Z also begins to grow out of this phase, young men are starting to appreciate traditional value over modernity. Speaking from a personal experience here. In both movies and games, the emphasis on diversity and inclusion should not overshadow the importance of good storytelling and character development. True representation comes from creating authentic, well-rounded characters and narratives that resonate with a wide audience rather than ticking boxes. Journalists should focus on providing unbiased, objective review and reporting. Their role is to inform the public, not to push a particular agenda. They should strive to separate their personal belief from their professional responsibility, ensuring that their work is fair and balanced. That is what journalists should be doing. In any case, this won't happen in an instant. Journalists and content creators will keep going at each other's neck. Games that push the message will keep coming out and keep flopping, while journalists keep reassuring them that it is just a coincidence. It will get worse before it gets better. In any case, if you like the video, subscribe. And yeah, that's it. See ya.